So, to everybody that joined, hi and welcome. I'm Jeff and Matthew. I run the ASEAN business for DevRev, and I'll be your host today. Joining me is also Rizu, who's a product leader at DevRev for our Agentic platform. Rizu, want to say a quick hi?
Hello, nice to be here.
Awesome. He's being humble today, but Rizu works with a lot of our customers and engineering teams globally to push the boundaries of what AI agents can really do. And in today's context as well, that's kind of the topic that we want to go through, which is AI agents in action, and particularly focus on the practical use cases for support and CX teams, right? So a few quick notes before we begin. The session should run for about 45 minutes with a Q&A section reserved for the end. But feel free to drop your questions in chat as and when they come along so that we can collate some of them and answer them towards the end. And we're also recording the session. So the slides and the recording will be shared with you towards the end of the session. Right. So let's dive right in. As we're getting started, to quickly set an agenda, these are the topics that we'll mostly be covering, right? Why ChatGPT alone isn't enough for CX, what AI agents are capable of versus regular chatbots of today. And we'll focus on some walkthroughs of real world support and CX use cases. And towards the last section, we'll focus on, I believe, two very important things, which is guardrails and governance on AI agents. And one of my personally favorite topics that I run into a lot of conversations as well, which is build versus buy. And I'm hoping that at the end of the 45-minute session, you'll all have like a real understanding of the possibilities that AI agents can offer right now, no longer in the future. Right? So let's dive right in. Now, if we look at ChatGPT as a platform, and I'm sure that a lot of us have used some form of AI platforms in our personal lives today, right? You can ask it a question like, hey, can you tell me more about DevRev Effortless Leadership Circle? And it goes ahead and gives you a very direct answer. And ChatGPT does this really well because it has access to pretty much the world's information and it's organized it really well, right? So it's able to give you that direct target answer. Now, what does it mean to use something like ChatGPT for our internal businesses? So, if I was to ask it a question like, hey, what is the latest update from Patrick on a specific Acme opportunity? ChatGPT would not have access to that information, right? And rightfully so, it should not have access to that information because if it does, then that means that your information is also accessible by others publicly. And that same setup is not possible today because all of your enterprise data is spread across a myriad of tools that you're using, which some of these are on screen, right? You're using some CRM, some ERPs, other systems of record, and so on. In reality, all of these different tools are spread across different departments and teams who have all optimized these tools for their own individual use case. But if you really want to surface the power of AI agents beyond what ChatGPT can really do, you need to be able to give it access to all of that information that's available across all of these different tools, right? And we're not alone in this discussion. This is something that a lot of people are also publicly resonating with because a recent report from Presidio stated that about 86% of the IT leaders are reporting that their AI initiatives are under delivering primarily because of data related barriers. Right now, say granted that we've built an ecosystem or a platform that is managed to effectively stitch all these data points from your enterprise systems together. Now, we really get into the meaty part of the conversation today, and we want to start by understanding what are AI agents really. And Brizu, since you work in this space a lot, would love to hear from you. What really are AI agents?
So the way I at least think of AI agents is that they are kind of a digital entity,
Mhm.
right? And they are able to take certain decisions based on guidelines and within some guardrails, which we'll discuss later. They're able to take certain decisions. They're able to be very context aware. So unlike traditional software, what is a traditional software? I mean, like you go and you click something and it does not really maintain the state of what you have done till now, right? And it can, but AI agents are able to use the context very intelligently and take decisions on actions as well. They're able to take actions through tool calling and some of the newer technologies, right? And it is also possible to train the agent over a period of time, give it better instructions, give it more knowledge, and improve it over a period of time. It is far easier to do that with AI agents compared to other software that we have had before.
Makes sense. And that's where I'm guessing it differentiates itself from chatbots as well, right? Because in conversations that I have with folks on the ground, when I'm talking to them about AI agents, most of them, when I say AI agents, all that they hear is just another chatbot, right? So what's really that couple of differentiating factors you'd say if you could highlight?
You're right. I think chatbots, what happens is that, and I have worked on chatbots a lot, right, earlier as well. And one very key limitation it had is that the human being had to program all possible scenarios and all possible flows in if then else very complicated loops, right? And even that would not be enough. It was not like natural free flowing conversation that the agent is able to hold, right? Because that agent is context aware, because that agent is capable of taking autonomous decisions, right? So that is one of the key differences, and this really matters for your customers actually. In customer
Mhm.
self-serve, this becomes a very defining factor for how successful that experience is, or how good that experience is.
Right. So based on what I'm hearing from what you said, the major differentiating, if I'm to summarize it in two words, I'd say the differentiation is reasoning and resolution, right? Rather than just retrieving information, it's about reasoning and resolution. Awesome. Great. Thank you for that. So before we jump into, let's say, some of those practical use cases that you just spoke about, where it goes beyond retrieving and into reasoning and resolution, I want to go ahead and take a quick poll and check with the attendees that have joined. Thank you all for joining, by the way. And the poll should be on screen. I'm hoping you're able to go ahead and see it. The question is, what are the biggest CX and support challenges that your teams are facing right now? And some of the common themes of responses that we hear are slow response times to customers, too many repetitive questions or high ticket volume, lack of visibility across support, product, and engineering teams, and human agents having to really juggle between multiple systems before they can effectively service just one customer. So I'll give you all a few seconds to vote. And while you're at that, just to share an arbitrary fact, I recently attended an AI conference in Singapore, and I heard almost everyone talking about AI agents, and almost all of them fell into the similar space of building a Gen AI wrapper on top of ChatGPT, right? That would just retrieve information mostly in the customer support or enterprise search space itself predominantly. Great.
There are
So
some questions coming in as well, Jeffin. Do we want to take the questions as we go or at the end?
I'm thinking we can reserve Q&A for the end so that we can get through content. I'm sure there's more questions that's going to surface up so we can collate them together, maybe answer them towards the end. So great, I've gotten some responses, and I'd say the biggest vote is for human agents having to juggle between multiple systems to service the customer itself, right? Now that's very, very interesting. Now, how can we go ahead and solve for that in a practical space? So what do you think AI agents can really do to boost that support and CX efficiency in the support space at least?
Yeah, so maybe what I'll do is I'll take this, break this question into two parts, right? What can AI agents do for your customers, right? And second part of it is what can AI agents do for your team members, right? So let's start with your customers first, because again, what is Debra? We were trying to build the most, help you become the most customer-centric companies in the world, right? So for your customers, what they really want is a quick resolution. They want self-serve resolution. No one really wants to call some landline and wait for 5 minutes on the queue or whatever, right? And that's where AI agents can always be available. They are available 24/7, and they can take you to resolution. What we discussed earlier, that was difficult to do with chatbots, right?
Mhm.
That's the key thing that we have to understand. It was similar promise, but the
Mhm.
AI agents are actually capable and they are actually delivering on that same promise right now. That was earlier promised by chatbots, unfulfilled. Right. And but then again, the AI agents will work within certain guardrails, and practically on the ground, what we are seeing is that not every company is ready to unload all of the use cases and all of the problems on the agent yet, right? We need people to deal with the complicated use cases where there is a bug and the bug needs to be resolved, or there is an incident and that needs to be resolved. And that is where the agents can help your teams debug things faster, find information faster, and really bring down the time to resolve, right? So the mean time to resolve would be the key metric that it would impact for your team. And for your customers, it would be the self-serve percentage of self-serve percentage resolution.
No, understood. So what I'm hearing is that agents can really summarize information really well while keeping past records of previous interactions in context, and also be able to suggest what root cause steps, relevant articles that you can do. But in the scenario where there's human in the loop, you can really help them get to the root cause problem faster, draft a response, automate some of these things so that you can achieve outcomes like, let's say, 5x faster resolution, consistent quality of responses,
Correct.
and ongoing learning itself, right?
Correct.
Great,
Correct.
lovely. So in that context, as promised, we want to really go ahead and showcase some of the practical use cases that we can solve for using AI agents. So the first one, and following up on, sorry, Nivedita, you raised your hand. Is there a quick question?
No,
Oh,
sorry.
no worries. Okay. So yeah, we'll focus on those two aspects that Rizu just spoke about as well, while showing you those practical use cases as well. So first is how AI agents can really improve self-service, and the first part. And in the second half of that walkthrough, we'll focus on, hey, with the human in the loop, how does AI agents assist these humans get to that root cause problem faster, right? I'm going to shift screens a little bit, and I hope you can still continue to see my screen. It should say Maple Software. We've given Maple Software an identity. They deal with payment solutions, and which means that the customers of Maple Software can really build payment ecosystems on top of Maple, right? Now, let's say for the use case of the walkthrough, I'm going to wear the hat of a customer of Maple Software. I'm going to come on their website, log in, and let's say my name today is Emma Santiago. And I'm logging in. And as soon as I log in, what I have access to is the total revenue, returning customers, currencies I support, list of recent transactions, ability to create reports, invoice, so on and so forth. Now, as I'm quickly glancing through this, I already see that there are, hey, two failed transactions right here, right? Now, that causes some frustration because that means lost revenue for me. I'm losing money here. Now, first thing that I want to do is reach out to Maple Software itself and understand what happened. So the first mode of engagement is this chat window. So I'm going to say, hey, I see some failed transactions. What happened? Now, as soon as I type in, but the first line of defense I see is an AI agent that's kind of picking up. But in my frustration, I kind of forgot to mention some details around my account, what I am about to do, what my authentication is, and all that. So, Rizu, what do you think is going on in the back end at this point regarding AI agents? Because I didn't give any of this information.
Yeah, this is a good way to actually show how it is different, right? See, basically, in a traditional chatbot, what will happen is that at that point, it will simply hand over to a human being. Say, hey, I don't know how to help you, but I will hand over to a human agent to help you with that. But here, what it does is that it understands. You just scroll up, right? In the answer that the agent has given. Yeah. So it kind of observes this. This is what we were saying, the contextual nature of things. It understands the context of this user, fetches those details, understands that the user has two failed transactions, correct?
Mhm.
And then it reasons through that, okay, how can it help? Like, the last sentence says like, would you like me to help enable your currency on your account, right? So that's what basically I was kind of it relates to the contextual and the reasoning nature of the thing. Now if you ask it to go and do something, it will do that. That's the taking action part of
I agree. No, I'm fascinating that it was actually able to authenticate me as a user, check and understand that not just two, but there's more than that. It says that there are four EUR failed transactions, two USD, and one more USD. So a total of seven transactions that have failed. And it's also telling me what happened, right? And this is exactly what I need. So as a customer, I now know what I have to do to solve for this, what needs to be done, right? And just like you mentioned, it's also giving me an option saying, hey, would you like me to enable EUR currency? Because looks like that's something that the AI agent can do for me. So I'm going to say, yes, enable Euro for me. As soon as
actually. Jeff, the very interesting comment there. I think it makes sense to answer this in context of what we are doing. So if you allow me. So the question is there an audit trail between user query to final response that enterprise users can see? And the reason I want to take this question upfront is because I think this is the burning question in the minds of the audience,
Sure.
right? And this is something where we have invested, made a lot of first party investment, as in our specific investments have gone in here to give you white box agents, right? What I mean by that is that this AI and stuff, there is a lot of, people kind of show it as black magic and it becomes black box, and what the agent is doing, no one knows what APIs it's calling,
Mhm.
what responses it got, and how the final response got formulated. And that is one of the biggest investments that we have made at DevRev. So how that query gets transformed, to which LLM it goes, what is the final prompt that goes into the LLM, which APIs get called, what are the inputs into those APIs, what outputs come from those APIs, from first point to the last point, you will have through and through tracking in the DevRev app.
Lovely. So full transparency as well, right?
Yes.
Amazing. And coming back to the context of the walkthrough, it says it looks like it has enabled euro currency for me, gives me a confirmation message. And let's say, as a customer, I want to further optimize for my use case. So I'm going to say, ask my relationship, let's say relationship manager to contact me. My typing is a bit off the day. So as soon as I do that, again, the AI agent, I'm guessing, checks the realm of possibilities that it has access to based on internal systems, policies, authenticating, understanding who I am, who my relationship manager is, and let's see what the AI agent actually does. So in the realm of possibilities that it has access to, it's actually created a ticket and it should have sent a notification on the back end to my relationship manager. And I'm sure that they're gonna go ahead and reach out to me, right? And it's asking me, is there anything else I can do? Gonna say that's it in that conversation. So this is where the power of AI agents really comes alive, I believe, right? Because what would otherwise, without AI agents, require a person to create a ticket, reach out to an on-call engineer who then enables this probably by writing code or tagging a feature flag, which could sometimes take hours or days to complete. In a matter of minutes, I was able to go ahead and do that. Now that's delivering true customer value and experience, right? In a matter of minutes, my problem was solved. I was able to resolve it and move on with my business. Now, continuing on that, let's say that I want to go ahead and, since I've seen failed transactions, go ahead and click on reports and generate a report as well. Now, as soon as I do that, I see there's some 503 error that's come up again. That's even more frustrating. So I want to send a message again to the Maple team saying that, hey, I tried creating a report and it shows me some 503 error. Now, focusing on what you said, I'm guessing it's doing similar capabilities on the back end, trying to validate what sort of an error this
It
is.
will first try to it will first try to reason and see if it is within its capabilities to solve this or not.
Mhm.
In this case, it realized its limitations, right, based on the guardrails that have been, and we'll talk about guardrails later again. It's not equipped to solve this problem on its own. That's why it creates a ticket and hands it over to a human agent.
Right. I think it's important to note that, it didn't just focus on just giving out an answer, right? It sort of reasoned and realized that it's not able to solve and immediately created a ticket rather than improving frustration. Now let's look at the back end of this, folks. So the Maple team that's, let's say, using DevRev to manage its ticketing ecosystem and all that, this is the interface that they'll see. And the customer support agent sees that this is the 503 error ticket that's come in. Now, let's say that I'm a relatively new customer service agent that does not have full context of, hey, what to solve for this. So there is the same AI agent assist side of this as well. So as soon as I open it, also realizes that I'm on the context of this ticket and I'm going to say, hey, I have a customer that has
This
reported.
is what it does for your team members. The first part of the demo was what it does for your customers, and this is how it helps your team members.
I'm going to say, can you look at previous tickets in the similar space and help me? So I can just ask the AI agent for
Spelling
help.
mistake also, Jeffrey. It
I've
was
made a
okay.
spelling mistake also.
You could have made more spelling mistakes, it would have still worked. People may, when they type, they write spelling mistakes, don't worry.
Interesting to see how AI agents start to look at semantics rather than actual direct keywords itself, right? Now, that's also super. It means that it's going across errors, language barriers, all that's also something that's easily something we can solve for.
Yeah.
Great. So I see that it's thinking very similar to how a human would think as well. It's going through the list of similar tickets in the past, seeing what has happened. It's making some investigations and it's giving me a trail of what exactly is happening, and it's giving me reasoning, right? And it's also telling me, hey, would you like me to do anything like search for relevant incidents, look at a specific error pattern? And I'm going to say, hey, first things first, I need to let the customer know and acknowledge them, right? So I'm going to say, hey, look at past resolved tickets with high CSAT, because I want to ensure this is something that made the customer happy, and drop me a response that I can send to the customer. So let's now see what it does for me.
Yeah.
And while I'm
I
doing
think
that,
important thing to highlight here is again, it explains what it is going to do. I will search for similar resort tickets with high CSAT, right? Let me search for more specific resolution details, right? So it explains what it is doing. So you are not just, at the mercy of just getting a block of text as the answer, and then you have to verify whether it is the right answer or not, right? You can follow through what it is doing. And if you see that it has taken a wrong step or taken a wrong turn, you can prompt it to correct it.
correct it, yeah. So you can really think about it as like an extended teammate of yours that's there to sort of help you out as and when you're working on things, right? So great. It says here, I've drafted a response. Acknowledge, would you like me to modify any part of this response? I want to see where that response is really posted. Now, if I go into the internal discussion section, I see that the AI agent has actually posted the response over here itself, right? So it solves my work so much. I don't have to type this entire thing. I can just copy paste it, go to the customer messages section, format it a little bit. I mean, again, AI is not perfect. There's things that it's still learning about, and add a personal signature of mine, and then send this out. Now, this makes me look really cool too as a support agent, I'd say. And great. And now I can continue with investigating things on the back end, work with my engineering team to really fix this and work on further resolution, right? Understanding what that bug is and so on. So again, I want to pause for a second and highlight that, hey, the first part of the section that we saw was where AI agents really help with self-service in answering directly to the customer, not just answering, but reasoning out and resolving that problem in a matter of minutes itself. And on the back end, where the AI could not solve for it, it created a ticket, passed it on to the human, and also continued to help the human by being a very reliable teammate on the side, right? Now, with these use cases, it's important to measure what really matters. Now, coming back to the deck, I want to say these are some forward-looking metrics that we usually use to understand if AI agents are actually working or not, right? But Rizu, are there other metrics that you think we should really look at to validate if AI agents are actually doing a good job or if they're even working?
Yeah, so see, there are business metrics which we have mentioned here. This is how our customers are evaluating whether the ROI is there or not, whether the investment is worth it or not. I think I also, as in in the team, we also look at a lot of input metrics that leads to this business outcomes, right? And there again, we are doing a lot of proprietary work on agent evaluation. Like so, even in call centers, there was always like evaluation of the call and all transcript and everything that used to run. Now the AI agents are talking directly with your customers, so they also need to be evaluated on instruction adherence, hallucination, faithfulness. So these are three important input metrics that we measure, and we have done proprietary work to be able to measure them accurately.
No, makes sense. And thank you for highlighting those as well. Now, I think this brings us to the close of the second section where we wanted to hand you over some practical use cases. So I hope this gives an understanding of what's possible in the realm of AI agents, something that's actionable for you to implement today itself. And before we move on to the last section, which I feel is a little crucial as well and important, which is the guardrails part of AI agents, I want to do another quick question to the audience that are here. Hey, what's the biggest concern for you guys when it comes to deploying customer-facing AI agents? Because It's important to do this because they are now part of your brand, right? They're also representing your identity. And some of the common themes that we hear are risk of exposing internal or private data, inappropriate or offensive responses, hallucination or inaccurate responses. And some people say, hey, there's no concerns. We haven't tried AI agents yet, so let's go experiment.
Or
So
if we have
either,
missed, or if we have missed something, then you can just send it as a comment to us.
yes,
If
please, yes.
some
If you
option
think
is missing.
correct, absolutely. If you think we've not covered the breadth of problems that you think are a problem, please feel free to add them in chat. We'd love to learn from that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think let's give a few more seconds to the poll and we should be getting the responses in.
In the meantime, I think we can answer. There was one more comment that had come to us. Is that users see very prompt or instant chat responses? They often assume that they are talking to an AI, but what they really want to do is talk to a human being. And I want to acknowledge that this is a behavior that we are seeing with our some of the customer facing agents that we are deploying. However, I think that there is some behavioral change that is starting to happen now. Right, I think people are now very, very comfortable using ChatGPT. Right, at least in our daily work, at least I first ideate with ChatGPT. Even Satya Nadella said something like that. He ideates with ChatGPT and then he works with his co-workers. Right, so I think people are now getting more used to, getting more comfortable talking to agents and self-resolving. And once they have the first experience of self-resolution, then they want to stick to that experience. Then the expectation turns again that I don't want to talk to your people. Give the skill to the AI agent, I will get a quick resolution, right? So I think it's a transition period, is what I would say.
Makes sense, makes sense. So thank you for answering that question as well. And as a result of the poll, say two of the biggest concerns are hallucination or inaccurate responses and risk of exposing internal or private data. Very, very fair sentiment. Thank you very much for voting and sharing that. So let's get into that topic itself, right? Guardrails. Now, why is it very crucial to have guardrails in place when you're deploying customer facing or forward facing AI agents, Rizu?
Yeah, so the first 2 points addresses the second point of risk of exposing internal data, right? So what you do in the first point is you define the scope of the agent. You tell it that, okay, this is the only knowledge that you can access, and these are the only tools or skills that you have at your disposal to help the customer, right? Even in the demo, we saw the 503 error. The agent did not hallucinate an answer that, oh, go solve the 503 error this way. It knows that, okay, it is beyond the current capabilities of the AI agent, and that's why it created a ticket and let the people, human, kind of come in and help them, right? So that is scoping the knowledge and the skills or tools that the agent has access to. Second is, once you scope knowledge to an agent, you also have to understand that not everyone has access to every knowledge, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep.
and this is particularly true for your teammates. Not everyone, there are some escalation teams who have access to more tools, who have access to more kind of instructions, whatever. And then there are, frontline teams who may have access to a little less information. Maybe they will not be able to give certain exceptions to the customer, right? So that's why all our agents are permission aware.
Mhm.
So, so there is zero information leakage, and this is a very hard problem. One of the hardest problems to solve is, okay, what happens when you change permission to someone? If you move someone to from group A to group B, so we do permission syncing, and all our search results are permission aware at the unitary level, as in at the document level. So that's why I think we take this very, very seriously. Third one is regional and social sensitivity. So this is more around like data localization. So, for
Mhm.
example, our customers are the largest banks in India, right? And people on the call will know RBI has very strict regulations on data localization. Many other ASEAN countries have such regulations. So we are regulatory compliant, and we have all the ISO certifications, other whatever certifications are necessary. And the last one is brand guardrails. Outside of regulatory compliance, also, brands may want to impose certain guardrails that, okay, if I am Acme Bank and
Mhm.
the users come and ask, okay, how is Bank ABCD better than Acme? The agent should not respond to that. I don't know, something like that. Or how is this other car better than the car that I am selling? Right. So those are brand and company level guardrails, and we work a lot hand in glove with our customers to make sure that such questions are rejected, prompt injection is rejected, and the responses are adhering to the customer's guidelines. Right. And then finally is transparency and fallbacks. Whatever guardrails we are implementing is always in partnership with our customers, and there is always full audit tracking as to if the agent refuses to respond to a question or gives a response to a question, why he did that. That entire audit trail is always available.
Mhm. Makes sense. No, thank you very much for sharing that information as well. I think that was an important topic to kind of cover. And I think it's a topic we can talk a lot more on as well. But in the interest of time, just to keep things moving and also take things up on a personally important discussion that I want to have, which is build versus buy, right? And while I talk to a lot of prospects or people across the ASEAN region, they bring up points around, hey, having the ability to fully control how access it is. So I'm always thinking between building some of this in house versus buying a solution that's already readily available to give me some of those answers. What's your take on that, Rizu? The build versus buy discussion.
I also build with us. It's not versus. We are all builders, right? Particularly, I am in India. I live in Bangalore, right? There are builders all around me. I think while building, also what you have to set up is some of these things, like you have to create your own guardrails, you have to create your own audit tracking, you have to write your own
Right.
evaluations, right? You have to create your own deployment, versioning of the agent, you have to create your own rollback and all of that, right? It's like code you are deploying, right? So why not just build with us, use our agent builder where you get a lot of these things out of the box, right?
Mhm.
And you can be in total control, and you can just focus on serving your customers and building the best possible agent. We also give you intel on how to improve the agent, on how to, like the CSAT, some of the things that I mentioned around adherence, instruction adherence, etc., etc. Those are the inputs that can be used to improve the prompt of the agent, improve the agent, and I think focus on your customers, focus on your business, and if you want to build it, build with
Mhm.
us.
No, makes sense. That's a very interesting point. And so what I'm hearing from this, and based on my personal experience also, I'd say, while it sounds appealing to have a lot of control by building your own AI agents, it also takes up a lot of valuable engineering resources, which can otherwise focus on your own business and solving the problem that you do really well. And you're taking that away from them focusing on growing your own business, growing revenue, and so on and so forth. But I like the approach that DevRev is kind of bringing in what you said around build with us. So we're trying to position the best of both worlds, where we're giving them ample amount of control, but also giving them a platform where we've done the hard work of building those foundational services in place. And whoever's building on top of DevRev can really bring their own use case expertise or capability expertise and focus on delivering value. Whereas you don't have to build those foundational services from ground up, which is where you're burning most of your engineering resources.
Correct. That is
Uh,
very true. Basically, I would say one way of putting it, Jeffin, is that if you think that it will take you 6 months to build and launch an agent with all of these controls and everything in place, if you're able to do that in 6 weeks with DevRev, that's a win for you and for us.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Very well said. No, thank you very much for that. And I think with that, we've covered most of the content that we wanted to go through today. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining in, for also staying on till the end. I think this is a good time to go through some questions as well. So I'm just opening up the Q&A section on DevRev. I see a couple of questions there. I'm just gonna go over them, a few of them, pick them out at least. So, Rizu, one of the questions is, hey, does DevRev agents understand screenshots of my team from Trello boards, etc.?
Yes, it does. So there are now multimodal embeddings that are available. From your Trello boards, we can ingest the screenshots, and uh, I wouldn't say that the models on the multimodal side are still as effective as purely text. You should not expect similar level of efficacy, but it is possible to.
Right. And another question also, which is very specific to the Indian ecosystem, I'd say, is according to you, how has the adoption of agentic AI in Indian enterprises changed over the last 2 or 3 years? Have you seen a positive trend? And I know you work with a lot of our BFSI clients across India, so would love to pick your brain on that as well.
Yeah, so this is, I think, is a very relevant question. I think actually I work with clients all over the world, and I will say that India is probably ahead of the curve here. I think it
Mm-hmm.
is underappreciated how fast the enterprises, how enterprising people are, because it's a country of builders, it's a country of developers. We are just always experimenting and tinkering and building stuff, right? And I think some of the highest ROI agents that I have seen across the globe
Mm-hmm.
are pretty much two of the top three are in India. Both of them are in BFSI as well. Right? Yes. So I think particularly for internal use cases, we focused on a lot on the customer facing today as well. There, I think the ROI is fairly clear. You measure deflection rate, and you get a certain ROI out of that. If it took you $10 to solve for this thing, we charge you $1, give you deflection, very clear ROI. I'm just giving hypothetical numbers. And
Mm-hmm.
on the internal case also, I think a lot of companies with our help and also on their own, not just with our help, are building agents and significantly improving their operations and operational speed. My team, right now, with just around 4 PMs,
Mm-hmm.
I'm able to do pretty much as much work as would have required probably 12 PMs before AI. So,
Makes sense, fair. And it's also interesting that it's from the BFSI space, right? Means that we've also taken privacy, security, and all these things also into consideration, which is on that guardrails topic. And on that, there's another question in chat that I wanted to also highlight, which is, hey, on the topic of guardrails, do you have processes in place to identify and block malicious attacks or prompt injections?
malicious attack and prompt injection is one of the things that we stop through our guardrails. Yes, I think what we have to also understand is that this is like cyber security, right? This is like you see a certain type of virus, you create an antivirus, and then a new type of virus comes, right? So it is a continuous effort, and we are putting in that continuous effort. And I think that is one of the reasons why it is better to build with us, because we are seeing all sorts of attacks. If you are building everything on your own with your own engineering team, you will see a certain type of attack and you will protect against it. A third type of attack will come. I think we're seeing a lot more of that.
We're
And
seeing more use cases, more different types of attacks that we're getting in, right? Okay. Solving for a larger sample set of problems. Now, another question that's come up is also, hey, how do you handle updates to agent logic or the knowledge sources itself?
so knowledge sources, I think what we do is first and foremost, we start giving intel to the agent developer itself that, okay, here are some of the questions that are appearing, which the agent is not able to answer. An example would be the 503 error, right? And then what happens is that if the AI agent does not answer, a human being answers that question, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then we look at, okay, that ticket got resolved, the ticket that the agent created, it got resolved, and what was the resolution on the ticket, right? And with that, we suggest the admin or the agent builder, hey, do you want to update the knowledge base with these resolutions so that next time there is a 503 error, that next customer can get a direct response. And it is important again here to do it properly, remove all the PII or whatever from the answer, because sometimes there are names and there is like my order ID or something that the human agent will respond with because he has to. That's his job. Right. So when we are giving these suggestions to the admin, we kind of clean that up in the back end and we try to do it as responsibly as we can.
Fair enough. And maybe in the interest of time, just one last question also from chat that I found interesting, which is, hey, could you highlight say top 1 to 2 factors that drive deflection rate, because Dimitris is thinking that customized or segmented business models would have lesser deflection rate, right? Because it's not something that's readily available from knowledge base. I'm guessing that's where your question's coming from, Dimitris. So what do you think, Rizzo, are those top 1 or 2 factors that really drive effective deflection rate?
I think the question is very pointed. I think that maybe this person in the audience has tried to build AI agents. So one of the first steps that we recommend our customers do is connect with your customer information, right? So the first thing the agent does, I think even in the demo, I think maybe we forgot to stress on that fact that it first finds the customer ID, in that it finds the customer information, what segment or whatever are the errors, and then starts. That is why it is contextual. So that's the way we try to deal with deflection rate, right? In this case. Having said that, I think it really depends on the nuances of that business and how the processes and documents are set up, right? And that actually is related, Jeffin, if you allow me to, there is another question that has come up. When you say knowledge base, is it a set of FAQs or unstructured document works with reasoning? Obviously, unstructured document works with reasoning. The way we have set things up is that I think if you kind of book a demo with us, we can show this better like on your data, right? You just connect your Google Drive, you just connect your Confluence with the authorization, and that's all we need. We do not need you to go and set up a whole bunch of FAQs manually, because that really takes increases the time to value for you. And whatever data is on your web, we crawl that directly again. No need to set up FAQs there.
Makes sense. No, thank you very much for answering that as well. And I guess maybe one last question that's come up in the interest of time. So you're saying, Anand says you're saying DevRev can talk to my client on WhatsApp, check if our team's already addressing the issue on our tech team boards, and if not, create a new ticket on Trello. Is that what you're saying? Also, is it able to work with Trello APIs to update deadlines on Trello boards, and when the tech team requests for extension of deadlines? So I guess this is a very specific question into, hey, can DevRev access Trello data and write back and
Yeah.
read?
So I will, the first part of it is easy. First part is yes. I think that's clear. I think the second question, maybe I maybe it makes sense to have a conversation, right, with this member of the audience, exactly what they are trying to say. If it also depends on what kind of APIs Trello exposes to us, right, and whether in your Trello subscription you have the capability to use those APIs or not, right? So it's not, I don't think it's a blank answer for anyone. What I will also say is that if you want to do these workflows and Trello does not give you those APIs, what you can do is you can do a one-time data transfer to DevRev and then just use DevRev instead of Trello. You can just stop using Trello completely for even for your engineering and product management teams, right? And you can have all your engineers work on DevRev and your customers being served through DevRev. So we have both the support and the built products as well.
No, thank you for that. I think that requires some in-person session as well, Anand, over there. And I think that brings us to a wrap. Keeping time in mind, I want to say thank you again for everybody that stayed on till the end. And I really hope that you got a clearer picture of what's really possible in the realm of AI agents. That's outside of just retrieving and ChatGPT wrappers. We can really give you reasoning and resolution abilities. And that's something that is already available today, not something that you'll have to wait for in the future. Now, with that, that kind of wraps up our session. We'll send the recording to you for everybody that's registered. And for anybody, and even Anand, so, for anybody that is looking to have further discussions around this, and maybe even do a use case assessment, feel free to just scan the QR on the screen and book some time with us. We'd love to learn more about your own individual use case. Like we said, one size does not fit all always. So we'd like to come and learn more and see how exactly AI agents can deliver value for you and solve for that use case, right? So looking forward to maybe speaking to some of you all one-to-one as well. But that said, thank you again for spending time with us over the last 45 minutes. We're almost on the hour, and I'll wrap this up. Thank you, folks. Have a good day. And thank you, Rizu, Nivedita, Stalia, for helping me on this discussion, for managing the polls and everything. Thank you very much.
It was a great discussion. I think I also enjoyed it a lot, actually. The questions are very thought-provoking. on this.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, folks. Have a good day now. Bye.